of between 6.5% to 7%. We are 400 to 500 basis points ahead of the rest of the world. But if you break up that compendium within India, it is the Northeast that is leading that pack within India, and within the Northeast, it is Assam that is leading that charge with a decadal growth rate of 12.6%. The claps were not resounding enough. हिंदी में कहावत है, हिंदी में नहीं, सुन तो लो आप, हिंदी में कहावत है दिल मांगे मोर. Last year's growth rate in Assam was 19.6%. And this year, under the stewardship of Chief Minister Hemanta ji, we are going to grow at 15.6%. That is almost 150% premium to India's GDP growth rate. And so I congratulate you. But that growth, ladies and gentlemen, is on the basis of a double-engine sarkar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi heralding a new frontier for the Northeast. And we heard him today on this podium. His emotive connect with the Northeast. It is not only an economic connect. ये केवल दिमाग का रिश्ता नहीं है. प्रधानमंत्री जी का एक दिल का रिश्ता उत्तर पूर्वी क्षेत्र के साथ है. And an area that was known as the last fringes of India today has been brought into the economic center of India's economic growth rate. In the last 10 years, Government of India has contributed 5.22 lakh crore as gross budgetary support to the development of Northeast. Last fiscal year alone, the Government of India has contributed close to 1,03,000 crores. The development of the Northeast, whether we look at all avenues, when we talk about Assam, today in Assam alone, a state, as Chief Minister said, was known with regard to instability and strife. Today is known for peace and tranquility, stability, for growth, equity. In many ways, it is setting a new paradigm for the rest of the country. And within that paradigm, whether you look at national highways, 4,000 kilometers, railways, 2,500 kilometers of railroad tracks. In the last 10 years, 1,800 kilometers of railroad tracks have been laid in the Northeast by Government of India alone, which is greater than the full railroad system of Sri Lanka. That is the paradigm change. We had 9 airports in the Northeast. When I was Civil Aviation Minister, many times Hemanta ji and I would converse. There were 2 states that did not even have a single airport in 65 years of India's existence. Today, from 9 airports, we have grown to 17 airports in the Northeast. Guwahati Airport today has become an international hub. From a capacity of 3.4 million passengers, it has grown to a capability of 13.5 million passengers. Whether you look at waterways, whether you look at railroads, you look at airports, educational infrastructure, the number of IITs, the IIMs, healthcare infrastructure, Assam has grown by leaps and bounds. From an organic agricultural growing state, today whether you look at the plastic park, the new refinery, the new urea plant, today the infrastructure sector in Assam is bustling with potential. But the change today across the world does not lie on infrastructure alone. It also lies on another paradigm, and that paradigm is information technology and telecom. Today, new innovative paradigms are occurring across the world. Whether you look at AI, whether you look at IoT, whether you look at machine learning, and all of them are running on the new highway and carriageway of telecom and IT. And in the last decade, for a change, India is ahead of the curve. And the Prime Minister has been committed to ensuring that India leads on telecom, India leads on information technology. And let me give you a comparative situation. A decade ago in 2014, we had close to 940 million mobile subscribers. Today we have close to 1.2 billion mobile subscribers. In the internet area, we had 250 million subscribers. Today we have 971 million internet subscribers. If you look at broadband, India had only 60 million broadband, which means greater than 2 GB. Today we have close to 941 million broadband subscribers. That is the paradigm change that India has undergone. And whereas volumes have increased, costs have exponentially decreased. A single minute on your mobile phone would cost you 50 paise per minute in 2014. Today, it costs you less than 0.03 paise per minute. That's a 97% decline in cost. 1 GB of data would cost you 268 rupees. Today, 1 GB of data in India costs you 9.08 rupees. Which means what? Means 11 cents. Whereas what is the world average? The world average is $2.59 per GB. We are today, ladies and gentlemen, the cheapest data provider in the world. I've always said this. We followed the world on 4G. We marched with the world on 5G. But we have the capability to lead the world on 6G. India has had the fastest rollout of 5G in the world. In 22 months, we have constructed close to 4.5 lakh towers and BTSs, covered 99% of our districts, 82% of our population. And on that infrastructure, on that highway, the content of economic transactions, the content of information flow to every single citizen in our country, whether it's rural India or urban India. It is the Prime Minister's resolve that every single person in rural India as well must not be an employee, but must become an employer, ladies and gentlemen. And therefore, with that capability, we are today moving forward, particularly in the state of Assam. We have devoted close to 4,000 crores worth of investments towards increasing our telecom and IT infrastructure. Close to about 1,800 crores has been devoted towards telecom, to provide telecom network to the last village of Assam. Every single rural habitation to be connected by 4G and 5G network. The Digital Bharat Nidhi has committed that resource to provide that capability across the length and breadth of our state. Similarly, close to 2,200 crores has been provided for the BharatNet program. Today, BharatNet in India, through optical fiber, is providing broadband connectivity across every Gram Panchayat in our country. A total of 2,285 Gram Panchayats in Assam. And along with the amended BharatNet program, which is the largest rural broadband program in the world at $16.9 billion, we are going to connect every single village across the length and breadth of our country, 3 lakhs through broadband network across our country. And that includes 25,000 villages in Assam, in addition to the 2,500 Gram Panchayats. Every single village on demand will be connected through the middle mile OFC fiber for broadband connectivity. Along with that, we have also developed a new scheme in which Assam is included, which is the Samriddh Gram Yojana, where the government sector, private sector, all will be connected to provide 5G application services to at least 1 Gram Panchayat per block. 4,000 blocks have been chosen across the country. 1 Gram Panchayat will be chosen across every block in Assam, where we will provide that connectivity for 5G use applications, so that my Kisan can be connected by IoT, by AI, to address issues required with his farming, whether it's nutrients, whether it's irrigation, so that telemedicine can reach every single person in rural habitations, so that tele-education can reach every child, and access to databases across the world can reach every single child in rural habitations. This is the Prime Minister's vision. Because ideas, ladies and gentlemen, today are not constrained by capital in the world. Ideas and successful models are constrained by the ability of turning ideas into reality. And we want to make sure that every single Indian's capability reaches not only the Northeast stage, reaches not only the Indian stage, but today reaches the world stage. A country that had no unicorns 10 years ago, today has 118 unicorns. And we want to ensure that the next unicorns come not only from urban India, but the next unicorns must come from rural India as well. And for that, not the physical highway, but the information technology highway is being driven to every single person's home by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. I must commend Assam in terms of its capability to take forward this idea. We have been very insistent that we must look at R&D in the telecom and IT space. India for too long has been known as a services giant. We have to transform to become a product giant. And in order to be able to do that, we must ensure that we invest in R&D. And the government is taking the first step forward. Through the Telecom Technology Development Fund, we have invested in projects in Assam. 3 projects in IIT Guwahati related to quantum secure platforms, related to IoT wearable devices, and we have 2 5G labs already started in Assam. One in IIT Guwahati, the other in NIT Silchar. And I have great pleasure in announcing before you today that the third one will be started today in Guwahati University. So as we move forward, under the leadership of Himanta Biswa Sharma ji, the first national data center inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India, the Northeast Data Center was set up last year. Along with 5G deployment in Assam, We're also looking at Asia's largest 4 hyperscale data center to be set up in Assam at a size of 1 million square feet. Tata Semiconductor facility, which we heard this morning, at an investment of 27,000 crores. Semiconductors, ladies and gentlemen, are the future. But the epicenter is Assam. And today, if a state, a region, a country wants to advance on AI, wants to advance on IoT, wants to advance on open RAN software, that inevitable critical building block is a fab and semiconductor chips. To be able to have that IP within our own country was a dream. But that dream has now been turned into reality by our Prime Minister. And Indian chips from an Indian fab will be a part of every single critical technology ecosystem in the world in the days to come. And that source of that capability in India will come from no other state but from Assam. And so today, as I stand before you, our pathway is very clear. Assam has to drive its own future. Assam has to innovate for the Northeast. Assam has to grow for India to grow. And therefore, I believe that the opportunity and potential today lies in our state of Assam. The capability on infrastructure, the capability on innovation, the capability to deliver high ROCE and high ROE on investment lies in Assam. As Minister of Donor, which is my other avatar, I would also request you all to come and invest in Assam. It is often said, a revolution is not an apple that falls when it is ripe. You have to make it fall. So come by, be a part of this journey. Be a part of that voyage to make that dream come true. We have amongst us a visionary leader in the form of our Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma ji, who has been committed, who has been ideologically driven to transform his state into one of the highest growing states in our country. As Minister of Communications and Minister of Donor, I commit to you that we will ensure that every investment receives its priority, not only in the state of Assam, but across the length and breadth of the Northeast. This is the fulcrum that will power growth, not only for India, but for the Asian subcontinent. And therefore, we have a Prime Minister who is emotionally connected with our area, who is completely committed to making things happen from an investment basis and change the landscape of our area. And therefore today, I invite you all to be a part of this journey. Let's empower people, let's foster innovation,